Hey there, everyone, and welcome to Pour and Explore, a wine, food, and travel podcast. I'm your host, Nick Elliott, the wine guy. I'd love to be your go to guide for all things wine, food, and the amazing places they take us. Here on Pour and Explore, we'll sip, savor, and wander through the exciting world of wine, discuss incredible cuisines, and uncover the stories behind unforgettable destinations. Each week, I'll bring you lively conversations with wine experts, chefs, travel pros, and fellow enthusiasts. We'll share practical tips, hilarious tales, and plenty of inspiration to fuel your next adventure. So grab a glass, pull up a chair, and join me as we pour, explore, and celebrate the good life. Let's dive in. All right, welcome back, wine lovers and wanderers, to another episode of Pour and Explore. This is a wine, a food, and a travel podcast, and I am your host, Nick Elliott, the wine guy. And today we're diving into a topic that's equal parts exciting and intimidating: living that digital nomad lifestyle. I know I've dived into that just a little bit over the last couple of years, traveling all over the place, doing my job, but I've never done it in a permanent or semi-permanent situation. Have you ever dreamt of packing up, hitting the road, and working from anywhere in the world? Well, my guest today is doing just that, and trust me, she's got some incredible stories to share with you today. Joining me on the show today is Jasmine Mastrolia. She is a social media strategist. She is a travel enthusiast, and she is, of course, a full-time digital nomad who has made the country of Albania her home, at least for now. She's worked in multiple industries, from travel to real estate to pet care. She's been helping businesses grow and connect with their audience online. But her journey didn't start in Albania, and it certainly isn't going to end there. She's got a love for adventure. She's got a deep appreciation for different cultures and a knack for making anywhere in the world feel like home. Jasmine is the perfect person to chat about with what it really takes to live and to work abroad. In today's episode, we're going to get into all of the good stuff, how she went from growing up in a travel-loving family to actually making the leap abroad, what life is like in Albania we're going to talk a little bit about, and of course, because you know I can't resist, we will be talking a little bit about wine and food as well. So, if you've ever been curious about what it takes to work from anywhere, how to navigate cultural shifts, and the unexpected joys and challenges, of course, of long-term travel, you're in for a great conversation. So, grab a glass of your favorite wine and maybe something a little adventurous to match today's theme, and let's dive in. Jasmine, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate you being here all the way from Europe. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What are you doing over there? I know you're living the digital nomad life. Tell me a little bit about that and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I'm a social media manager, so I work online and I can
Mhm.
work from anywhere. So back in 2018, we decided to move abroad, and I'd always wanted to live abroad. I'm the daughter of a travel agent. We have world travelers in my family, so travel has always been central. And I'd always wanted to live abroad. We had the chance to move to Italy, so we did. And Italy was great in a lot of ways, but not what I wanted. It wasn't what I pictured, and it wasn't what I wanted. We ended up moving to Albania, and it's a beautiful country that a lot of people didn't know about at the time. It's becoming more popular,
Mhm.
and I absolutely fell in love with it within the day I arrived.
That's amazing. Tell us a little bit about your social media business. Do you have a specialty that you're working in or just kind of across the board?
Yeah, I specialize in service businesses. So, travel, weddings, real estate, education, pet services, pet care, that sort of thing. Those businesses need to build a lot of trust with any potential clients before anyone's going to hire them. And I'm really good at making sure their social media is authentic and genuine to their mission, and that people understand that they can trust the businesses. So, I've developed a specialty in engagement, in making sure everyone feels really connected, and I kind of love it. So,
Fantastic. And your clients are finding a lot of success on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all over the place.
TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook are, for the most of the businesses I work with, probably the best platforms. We do stay on LinkedIn because there's networking opportunities that they can
Sure.
benefit from. And in some cases, we've used Pinterest, but generally, service businesses don't get the most return there. Coaches, yes, but most service businesses don't. TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook are typically the best platforms.
All right, fantastic, fantastic. So you're in Albania. You've obviously, as you said, fell in love with it immediately. Tell us a little bit about that country. Tell us a little bit about the culture, the food, things like that.
It's really one of a kind. So it's in the Balkans. It has that Southern Europe, Mediterranean lifestyle in a lot of ways. There's a lot of Ottoman influences because Albania
Mhm.
used to be part of the Ottoman Empire. There's Greek influences, Italian influences. And you definitely see that day to day life. They were communist from just post World War II until the 90s. So the buildings I'm in Tirana, and the buildings in Toronto are those gray communist block
Yep,
buildings.
I know exactly
They
what
are
you're talking
now
about.
super colorful. It was actually a movement when Eddie Rama, the prime minister, became mayor of Tirana back right after communism. He was an artist. He had no intention of going into politics, and he was an artist, and he actually wanted people to take pride in their city. So he started giving them money from the government to paint. And he started with the most dangerous block in Tirana, supposedly, and they painted, and then they all took pride and they cleaned up their yards and they fixed their houses up even more. And soon it was one of the safest blocks in Toronto. So he extended that pretty much throughout the country. It's actually supposed to be illegal to build just a gray, square, squat building here, which I find absolutely fascinating. There's murals all over the city. Every building is bright and colorful. We have rainbow buildings. It's really inspiring in a lot of ways how they took something bad and used it to make good. The bunkers here are all painted with flowers and happiness. And yeah, it's a really powerful tribute to what the Albanian people do with their history and everything. So
Absolutely. Well, it speaks a lot to the people and the culture, that they can take something, dare I say, ugly, and
yeah,
turn it into something beautiful. I was in Romania around this time last year, and they are in a very similar transformation there in Bucharest, Romania, right now, where they're turning all of those ugly Cold War buildings into these beautiful edifices, and they're colorful and they're clean, and there's ivy growing down the sides now, and they're really turning it into something pretty. So I'm glad to hear that they're doing the same thing in Toronto. That's absolutely awesome. Well, from our previous conversations, I know that you're a wine lover, and of course, you can't talk to the wine guy without talking a little bit about wine. Tell me a little bit about your experience in Albania, with not only with their wine, but you've been through Europe. It sounds like as well. What are some highlights for you?
I like red wine, white wine. I'm good with it. Here in Albania, white wines are generally more popular. We have some really good Pinot Grigio, actually, from
Mm,
South Albania and such. But you can get wine from Italy, from Germany very easily. It's generally about 500 lek, which is about €5 for a bottle of wine. And it's
amazing.
good wine. I've been really impressed with the wine here. We actually have a winery right outside of Tirana, about 20 minutes outside of Tirana, that I like. And they're always at all the festivals with their Cabernets and Riesling and Pinot Grigio and white blends. And so it's been fun, but we have Italian wines easily accessible. I really like a good German wine as well.
Absolutely. Perfect, perfect. As I think I'm going to Germany in November, and I'm super excited about all of the Riesling I'm going to get my hands on, and the
Yeah.
all of the beautiful red wines that they produce in Germany as well. I'm really, really excited. So, besides the wine, we talked a little bit about the people. We talked a little bit about the wine and the history of where you are. Let's talk about the food. What's the food like there?
It is a mix of Greek grilled meats or Turkish grilled meats. There's a lot of Turkish influence in the food, and
Sure.
Italian. So the typical food here is zgaras, which is grills. And they do grilled meats, but they also do so I'm vegetarian, and they do grilled vegetables
Hmm.
marinated in like a balsamic reduction,
Yeah.
and it is just amazing. and it's very flavorful. They have Fergese, which is cottage cheese and tomatoes and sometimes eggplant or something in there. It's delicious. I've been really impressed with the food here. I was surprised by that. Best way to find a Zagara is to follow your nose. If you can't smell it from 2 blocks away, we just walked through town going, "Oh, yeah, I think it's down that road," and it turns out to be, like, the best cigar in the entire neighborhood every time. So if you can't smell it, you're at the wrong place.
Got it. I love that about Europe is just finding those little hole in the wall places, typically a mom and pop operation,
Mhm.
where they've been cooking the same family recipe for 100 years. And yeah, those are absolutely so much fun to find, to discover, and to eventually eat. It's definitely a beautiful thing. You're obviously settled for the most part in Albania right now. Do you have any plans on going somewhere else in the near future, or is this going to be it for you for a while?
Permanently, no. We're looking at doing a trip to Italy this year, possibly Greece. I'll probably be going to the Netherlands for some work. So that sort of thing. I haven't done the Netherlands yet, so that's super exciting.
Jealous.
I'm
Jealous.
pretty
I,
excited about it because it's for a coffee shop and they've promised to give me all the coffee I can drink. I think that's stupid 'cause they will go bankrupt. But it'll be fun. It's the Southern Netherlands right by Germany, so maybe I'll do like a
Mhm.
day to Germany kind of thing.
I want to be you when I grow up, to say the least. Let's talk a little bit about logistically how you do that, because the digital nomad experience for people, no matter where they go, there are triumphs, of course, finding new places, great food, great people, great wine, all of that stuff. But there are also challenges. Let's talk about some of those challenges and how you deal with it as someone who relies on the internet, to live, to pay the bills.
It's an adventure and you have to be really open. I'm very type A in a lot of ways.
Sure.
So going with the flow, not really my thing. And I've learned to be a little more open. If things get too hard, I've learned that it's probably not supposed to happen. And generally, if I can just step back and give it a minute, something else is about to happen. And that's very hard for me to trust. And I still fight against it sometimes. But it generally works out. Italy, for instance, we were really struggling in Italy because it's a beautiful place to visit, but for the lifestyle we were looking for the lifestyle I want to live, it was not what I had hoped. And we were doing a lot to try and stay there. Then COVID hit, and we kind of got trapped in Ostuni, which is a small city, but we were outside it, which made it harder. And at the end, after about a year of COVID, we said, we have to get out. We have to get out of Italy. We need to step back and regroup, and we booked a flight to Turkey and it got canceled. And we booked a flight to Turkey and it got canceled. We booked a flight to Turkey and it got canceled. And this hard lockdown where you can't leave your town is coming
Right.
with 3 days left. We said, that's it. We got to get on the first boat out of here and then we'll figure it out. And that boat went to Albania. And 3.5 years in Italy, we had no friends. One day in Albania, not even a day, an hour after we got off the boat, we were in a coffee shop. An hour after we got off the boat, we had a friend who was super nice, helped us find our apartment because our Airbnb fell through because it was kind of shady. And he ended up showing us all around town. And I found this amazing country that I had no intention of visiting. That
Right.
was
Right.
exactly what I wanted. So going with the flow has been one of the biggest things. And it's something I say to new travelers is things are going to go wrong.
Right.
You're going to miss a bus. I've been stuck on more mountains than I can count, actually. Like, it's a thing of mine. So you have to just be able to kind of roll with things and remember that you'll generally find nice people
Right.
if you give it a minute, and they'll help you and they'll take pity on you when you get stuck on the mountain and they'll help you navigate. If you're nice and open, they'll be nice and open back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Were there language difficulties after going from Italy? You probably picked up a little Italian while you were there, or maybe not. I don't know. Yeah. What did you find the language barrier, if at all, moving to Albania?
So I grew up speaking English and French.
Okay.
And I learned bits and pieces of Spanish and bits and pieces of other languages, Italian, Portuguese, a little tiny bit of Swedish, a little bit of German, that kind of thing. A couple of words here, a couple of sentences there. And in Italy, I definitely picked up more Italian. I could navigate fairly easily. Then we come to Albania, and the thing about Albanian language, it's called Ship. And the thing about Ship is it is its own linguistic branch.
Oh,
It is not like Serbian or Macedonian, which are two of the neighbors. It's not like Greek. It is on the typical alphabet, but they have 36 letters instead of 26.
got it.
Everyone, even Albanians, will tell you it is a very hard language. And because of the influences from Italy and so forth, there are words that are Italian or sound Italian. So now my running joke is I speak European because any word that I can't think of fast enough in Albanian or that sounds like one of the other languages that I speak where I know the word will have me code switching instantly.
Yeah.
And I'll end up in French. And I generally, day to day, have no idea what language I'm in. I went to London where they speak my native language. And I started talking to the cab driver, and all of a sudden, fluent shit. Didn't understand a word I said. Like, he was so confused. And I couldn't stop it. I could not remember how to tell him where we were going in
Yeah,
English. I could not figure it out. So it's definitely hard. I struggle with the pronunciation a lot because my ear is not trained to hear the difference in sounds. I'm so used to Romance languages
sure, sure.
that my ear can't hear the difference in the sounds between the ch and the ch and the ch. It's all the same to me. So
I get it.
it's hard, but they speak Italian here. Pretty much everyone over 40 speaks Italian, and pretty much everyone
Okay,
under 30 speaks English. So I can
okay.
normally figure my way.
Excellent, excellent. Well, along those same lines, for the listeners who are thinking about getting into it, have you found any, whether it be technology or whatever, that helps you get over that language barrier, or are you just kind of out there winging it?
So depending on where you go, winging it works really well. I learned my numbers up to 100 in Ship from a coffee shop guy. He had some free time. He sat down with me over a cup of coffee and taught me numbers. We've practiced with old men on the bus who just joined in to help with pronunciation. I mean, like, so winging it, depending on where you are, if the people are friendly, can go really well for you.
Sure.
What I do recommend is a lot of people try and get language teachers who have a structured curriculum.
Right.
I advise people not to do that.
Okay.
It sounds
That's
bad,
interesting.
and if you're going for a test, it's a valid choice, but if you're just trying to survive in the country, the best thing you can actually do is hire some neighborhood kid as a tutor to go with you to places. Like we had
Mhm.
Alex, and he would go to the grocery store or go to a restaurant with us and teach us the words I need to know right now.
Yeah,
And then for the next week, I get to use these words every day.
sure.
And that really helped us make significant advancements in
Hmm.
speaking the language because I actually got to use it regularly and practice it. And then when I'm picking up other words, I know what they should sound like because I know this connected word kind of thing. So a language tutor is the best thing you can do. You have to speak the language to learn it.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard it from an expert, folks. Get in there and find someone who's going to help you along. You keep saying we. If I remember correctly, you are in Albania with your mom, right?
Yep, she has Parkinson's. She was a travel agent for 30 years. She has Parkinson's, and we wanted to travel while she can enjoy it. So
Love it. Love it. Love it. And is she falling in line with the Albanian culture like you are, kind of getting into it?
she loves it even more than I do.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad to hear that. Fantastic. Do you have any travel tips for our listeners? Let's talk about booking flights and things like that and kind of working our way down.
So booking flights, one thing we like is Google Flights. It sounds crazy, but if you put in where you're leaving from or where you want to leave from and vague dates, you can pull up good deals, and sometimes you
Okay.
can get some really good deals.
Okay.
I mean, from here, it's $20 to most of Europe.
Oh,
Like, I had a
wow.
cousin who would go to Rome to drink for the night. It was
All
cheaper
right.
than the cab to go downtown. Like, okay, if that's what you're gonna do. If you're in the States, if you look on Google Flights, sometimes there's basically an error, and you can get a $60 flight to Mexico, or you can get a $200 flight. We got $200 flights to Paris.
Wow.
That's how we moved. Like, that kinda deal doesn't come along a whole lot, so definitely be open to that, and fly coach, unless you're flying around the world. When we went to Australia, go first class because you're on the plane for, like, 26 hours, and it is worth it. Other than that, fly coach, save the money. You're not going to remember the plane ride and that you were a little cramped for a couple hours. You're going
Right.
to remember the experiences you have during your trip, so save the money where you can. Hotels, flights, that kinda thing. If you can travel overnight, do, because taking a train overnight saves you the hotel fee, and it's just easier.
I love that tip. I love that tip. Taking the train overnight to avoid staying in a hotel. Who would have thunk it? I love that.
And a train, a lot of trains are surprisingly comfortable.
Yeah, we did trains in France, we did trains in Italy, and I completely agree. They're comfortable, they're clean, the people are friendly, as far as the folks who work on the train, they're accommodating, in my experience. So it's a beautiful way to see a lot of the country that you wouldn't otherwise see.
It is. I got to see a lot of cities connecting trains and stuff. I would make my break long enough that I could go out and see the city a little bit, so
Right, right. I talk a lot on this show about cruising as well, and I believe the same thing about cruising is you're traveling to a lot of different places in a short amount of time, and you're seeing so many things. So it's different but similar to train travel, where you're going to see a lot of different ports, you're going to see a lot of beautiful things just looking off the side of the boat, out of the window of your train car, and things like that. So I am absolutely on board, with that. And it's surprisingly easy, the train travel. Most countries have some type of a rail pass. France, Spain, Italy, Germany definitely all have a lot of that accommodation for travelers. Very, very cool. Well, we're going to start wrapping up things in a few minutes, but, I got to ask if there's a dream destination for you, what does that look like?
I would love to go to Uganda
Uganda. All right. Tell us
or
about that.
Belize or Bolivia, and I really can't choose between them. I'm an animal lover, so Uganda has a lot of natural park kind of area where you can see, for instance, the Big 5 and stuff.
Fantastic. I think you said Belize in there as well.
There's an animal rescue, a wildlife rescue, and one of the things you can do if you go for a minimum of 6 weeks, because that would be my thing. No matter how long you go, you get to pick what kind of animal you'll be assigned one type of animal to work with the whole time you're there. 6 weeks, though, is the minimum time to get the jaguar, and one of the things you have to do is take the jaguar on a walk.
Oh my goodness.
I want nothing more in my life than to say, "Oh, I can't hang out because I have to walk the jaguar." Yeah, that's it, that's the goal, that's pretty much my bucket list.
Yeah,
S
hashtag life goals. Walk the Jaguar. I'm digging that.
Who gets to say that? Like, that's it, that's epic. So I wanna say that.
Belize is such an interesting country. I've been a few times, and Belize is absolutely beautiful. If you're not familiar with Belize, it's in Latin America. It is an English speaking country for the most part. It's a small country, so it's got a lot of influence for such a tiny place. And what I mean by influence is you've got the Caribbean influence on the eastern side of the country. You've got the Guatemalan or the Latin American influence on the west side of the country. On the west side of Belize, you have beautiful pyramids that were built, 1,000 years ago, and so on. And then Belize also boasts the second largest barrier reef in the world. I don't know if people really know that. So if you're a fan of snorkeling or scuba diving or just boating in general, Belize is one of the most beautiful countries. I was able to swim with the sharks in Belize. That was a lot of fun. I love the natural aspect of the country, that you're talking about. It's really a beautiful place.
It is, it's supposed to be, and I think that's why it's as high on my list as Uganda is both or have that natural authenticity. I like to see the real part of the country, so both would be able to provide that without getting overwhelmed with the tourist ads and all of that, so
Right, right. Absolutely. So, I absolutely appreciate all of the great wisdom you've given us. For anyone out there who is considering taking that digital nomad route, I think there's been a lot of great stuff that we've talked about today. And I would encourage anyone who wanted to chat with Jasmine to, come on in and take a look at the show notes. I'm going to make sure that we're posting all of her contact information on the show notes in the show. Let's wrap things up. Is there anything else that you'd love to add? Any other wisdom drops that you want to give to us?
I think the big thing is do it scared. I wanted to move abroad and I didn't. I wanted to move abroad my whole life and I didn't until my 31st birthday. That was the day of my flight to Paris because I was always waiting for it to be the perfect circumstances to have
Mm,
X amount of money in savings or to have this responsibility taken care of. I was always waiting for something perfect. We got to a point where I had been in a car accident, my car had been totaled. We had been
mm,
getting close to being willing to move, and all of a sudden I'm going to have to replace my car. And do I commit to another, several years here, or do we move? And we decided to move. A month later, we were on the plane. We had sold pretty much all of our stuff. We had suitcases and my animals. We had a one-way ticket. I was terrified to the point where I kind of thought I was going to vomit. And it was the best decision of my life, and I wish I'd done it earlier. I ended up being able to shift into my dream career, do writing and doing social media, which I hadn't had the nerve to pursue earlier. I found the lifestyle I was looking for. That was a little bit more of a journey. I learned a lot about myself. I learned to roll with the punches a little more. I learned that I can overcome things that need to be overcome. So do it scared.
that's good. That's great advice. Obviously, from someone who has done it and is doing it successfully, I love to hear that advice. And there's a lot of uncertainty, in our world nowadays here stateside. Even if you're not sure about it, travel is an adventure. So get out there and have an adventure.
It is. You can't regret it. You're not going to regret it. Even if you don't enjoy it, even if you move back home, at least you can say you did it. You
Yeah.
were strong enough and brave enough to do it and decide it wasn't for you through experience, not through assumption.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for being with us today. I really, really appreciate it.
I'm always glad to talk about travel. So.
Fantastic. Before we head out, tell us your business name and drop your website for us, if you will.
So I just operate under my name, Jasmine Mastrolia. My website is jasminemastrolia.com. And that's going to be really hard to spell, so definitely please put it in the show notes.
I
Italian last
absolutely
name,
will.
everyone messes it up. So,
All right, Jersey girl. I'll talk to you real soon. Thank you so
all right,
much.
have a great
All
day.
right. Wow, what a fantastic conversation. You know what, Jasmine? I really do truly appreciate you sharing your experiences, the ups, the downs, and everything in between about life as a digital nomad. From the colorful streets of Tirana and walking with jaguars in Belize, I think you've really given us a fresh perspective on what it means to live boldly, certainly embrace the unknown. And I loved what you said, do it scared, which is completely understandable. We all feel that way. We all need to, from time to time, get out of our comfort zone. So I appreciate the fact that you said that. And you guys have heard me talk about this before. You're never really going to truly live until you get out there and experience what other people do, how they live, what they eat, what they drink, and just get into their culture. And that is certainly what Jasmine has done. So I hope she has sparked a little bit of something in you to get out there and do something new. For anyone who's out there been thinking about making a big life change like this, whether it's moving abroad, starting a new career, or even traveling more, I really hope this episode has given you some inspiration. And if you're just here for wine talk, well, I hope you learned a little something new about Albania's wine scene. It seems like they've got a great thing going over there, some interesting varietals, some things that out there as well. But it would be really awesome to be able to get there and experience that for yourself and for myself, 100%. So I'd love to do that. If you want to connect with Jasmine, please make sure to check out the show notes. We're going to have pictures and links and all of that good stuff in there. And, check us out on social media. Don't forget I'm putting out little sneak peeks every week. So hopefully you get to catch some of that stuff. And please connect with Jasmine on social media and via email, website, etc., etc. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, I hope you will check out some others. Please don't forget to don't forget to leave a review, please share it with a friend, and most importantly, I would love it if you would be interested in subscribing to my show and my channels. So, I really, really appreciate it. Until next time, my fellow wanderers and wine lovers, please keep wondering and please keep wandering. Take care.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Pour and Explore. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your stories, or your questions, so you can drop me a line at cheers@thewineguy.vin. That's cheers@thewineguy.vin. Or let's connect on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. Grab those links on my website at thewineguy.vin. Until next time, let's keep wondering and wandering. Cheers, everyone.